Micronutrients. So micronutrients are essential minerals needed for our better functioning of the body as well as the betterment of the metabolism. Calcium is one of the major micronutrient which is needed for us. Without this calcium ion, it is impossible, it is very impossible to have our normal metabolism. So let us start discussing about this calcium first. So here we are going to see some of the topics areas here, that is calcium ion and its role in cellular processes, then calcium absorption, the absorption mechanism of the calcium, then after absorption what is going to happen to this calcium, that is the calcium distribution process. Then once it is distributed, how it is maintained, its balance is maintained, that is called calcium homeostasis. Then some quantity of calcium when it is excreted, that is it is taken to the kidney cells, where what is the fate of this calcium, that is the reabsorption of calcium by tubules. Then the role of some hormones, these hormones are regulatory hormones which regulates calcium level in the blood. So when you take any cellular mechanism, any type of cellular mechanism, you see that calcium plays a very important role. See, the calcium ion, that is a Ca2 plus, it is a double cation Ca2 plus, which is distributed everywhere inside our body in all the cells. So that is why it is abundant cation, that is Ca2 plus, which is present and distributed in our body. That is if you see that it's a distribution, approximately 1000 grams of calcium ion is distributed in adults, normal adult human being. So since it is distributed everywhere in all the cells, you have to intake calcium regularly in our daily food. So the requirements, the daily requirements per day for the normal human adult is 1000 to 1500 milligram per day. So now if you see this table, the table gives you an overview or bird eye view about the composition of these kind of minerals and some of the essential components present in our whole body. So now you can start from one end. See, body weight. Suppose we are taking a human being, a person with a 70 kg body weight. So 70 kg body weight human being, in that person it is determined by chemical analysis, and the values per kilogram fat free tissue is calculated. So per kilogram whole body weight, what is the distribution or composition of these components in our body. For example, water in grams, water is needed 605, that is 605 grams, it should be there for a body weight of a person who is having 70 kg. Similarly, fat 160 grams, water, that is water inside the cell, outside the cell is also there, 720 grams. Then nitrogen 34 grams. Then sodium, Na. Sodium is needed only in milli equivalents. Milli equivalents is very low value, not in higher quantities like in grams. Milli equivalent, sodium in milli equivalent, 80 milli equivalent is required, it is there. Then potassium ion, calcium ion is a very important nutrient, micronutrient. So it has to be transported from the lumen of the intestine to the bone and other parts of the body wherever it is required. So how to regulate this calcium ion and how to transport it in the blood? So these are the very important aspects of regulating the calcium ion concentration both in the blood as well as in the extracellular fluid and then in the bones. So in order to regulate this calcium ion transportation, we have several helpers. We can see here one by one. Calcium regulating hormones are there. They will regulate the calcium ion level in the blood. They are calcium regulating hormones. Then the extracellular calcium concentration. Calcium concentration in the extracellular fluid. The fluid which is present outside the cell is called extracellular fluid. Then diuretics. The condition, diuretic condition, during which what happens to the calcium ion concentration. Then estrogen, a hormone. What is this hormone estrogen? Estrogen, it is a female sex hormone, and that is also going to play a very important role in the maintenance of the or regulation of the calcium ion. Then thyroid gland, that is also connected with the calcium ion because thyroid gland secretes a hormone called PTH, parathyroid hormone, that is actually synthesized and secreted by thyroid gland only. So in that way, thyroid gland plays a very important role in the regulation of calcium ion. Then magnesium level in the blood also influences calcium ion concentration in the blood. Then some conditions, some scenario like metabolic acidosis or metabolic alkalosis which happens in our blood because of some problem in the blood buffer system. So during that time also calcium level plays a very important role. So these are all the various helpers. They are going to help the regulation of calcium ion in the body. So first one we can see about this calcium ion regulating hormones. So one such hormone is called PTH, parathyroid hormone, which is synthesized by thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is just there near the chest, just below the neck. Thyroid gland is there. See, this thyroid gland is going to synthesize this hormone PTH, parathyroid hormone, and this hormone is going to regulate the calcium level in the blood. So this hormone is going to alter expression of calcium channels. So these calcium channels are there in the plasma membrane of the cells. Then calcium binding protein. Already we have seen about calcium binding protein, which binds with the calcium in the lumen of the intestine, and it transports that calcium from one side to other side to the blood. Then calcium pumps, they are ion pumps actually present in the plasma membrane. Then we have exchangers, ion exchangers in the kidney cells. So all these areas where you see that this hormone is going to influence. So the most important two hormones which is going to regulate the calcium ion are, first one is parathyroid hormone PTH. The second one is called calcitriol. Calcitriol is nothing but 1-alpha 25 hydroxy 2D3. So this is commonly known as calcitriol. So this calcitriol is another hormone like PTH. These two hormones are most important hormones. They are going to regulate calcium level in the body. Here you can see that the role of PTH, parathyroid hormone. So here we are having, you see that thyroid gland, this is thyroid gland. This thyroid gland, you see that it is having front portion and the back side portion. So the back side of this thyroid gland, the back portion of the thyroid gland is having parathyroid glands located on the back side of the thyroid gland. Actually this is a part of thyroid gland only, but it is named as parathyroid gland. It's actually the backside portion of the thyroid gland is called as parathyroid gland. So this parathyroid gland actually is going to release this hormone, parathyroid hormone. So this PTH is released in response to low level of calcium ion in the serum, or we can call it as plasma. So these receptors, that is very important receptor which is going to bind with the PTH, that is parathyroid hormone, PTH-RP, that actually promotes reabsorption, that is reabsorption of calcium ion. Because at low calcium in the serum, at that time only PTH comes into role, because it has to reabsorb calcium from the kidney cells, because already in the blood plasma calcium has come down low level. So in order to compensate that problem, so that reabsorption process will be promoted by this hormone PTH. So you see that role of PTH. PTH is actually acting on bone, because the calcium level in the blood is very low now. That is the scenario, that is the condition. This is the blood vessel, the red color one is blood vessel. You have RBC cells are there, red blood corpuscles inside the blood vessels. So now the condition is low level of calcium in the serum. So at that time parathyroid gland secretes PTH, parathyroid hormone. This hormone will act on bone, and it will allow release of more and more calcium ion from the bone into the blood, because in the blood the calcium level has come down. It has come down drastically. So we have to increase the calcium level in the blood. So that is why this PTH comes in role. So it will remove calcium from the bone, that calcium will be going to the blood, and it increases the blood calcium level. This is one way. The other way, same PTH which acts on kidney cells. It acts on kidney cells, and in the kidney it will make the calcium to be reabsorbed from the urine, and that reabsorbed calcium again goes to the blood. So in presence of the vitamin D actually you have to get it from sunlight. So vitamin D, it acts on this intestine, so that it will make absorption, that is absorption of more and more calcium from your food, from your diet. So here that excess calcium which is absorbed is going to the blood. So all the three ways, you see that the low level of calcium in the serum is regulated by this hormone PTH, so that calcium level increases suddenly, and the problem is solved. So here you see that in the diet, in the food, you are taking calcium. You are taking calcium in the food, but it has to be properly absorbed in the intestine. Otherwise what will happen? That calcium which is not absorbed in the intestine will go out. It is excreted as a waste product. So if you want to absorb more calcium in the intestine, what is needed for you? Vitamin D is needed, PTH is needed. Vitamin D is not there, then calcium will not be reabsorbed. That is why those people who are exposed to sunlight more, will have strong bone. For example, you take African people. In Africa, you see that the exposure to sunlight is very high. Sunlight is very, very high throughout the year, and people are exposed to sunlight very commonly. Then you see their bone growth. African people are very, very tall, and their bone is very strong, very thick. because they are exposed to vitamin D, which comes from sunlight. So naturally, more and more calcium ion will be absorbed in the intestine. That excess calcium will go and deposit in the bone, so that bone strength increases. So thank you very much for your patient listening. And once again, if I get another opportunity, I will meet you all with another topic in another video session. So thank you all. Jai Hind.